Have you ever been in a car on the road and wondered, why do some countries drive on the left side of the road and others drive on the right side? So let's take a look at the historical and cultural reasons behind the worldwide split on left-hand and right-hand traffic. I'm Akash Cody, and a hearty welcome to my YouTube channel. There's been many different stories about why driving customs differ around the world, but let's take a look at some of the most common beliefs. For example, most of the people in the world are right-handed, about 90%, and historically, having the right hand, the dominant hand, closer to potential oncoming traffic made sense, because this way they could easily defend themselves using a sword or other weapon if the need arose. This necessitates that traffic goes to the left of the road. And so we believe it's for this reason that many regions in Europe had people ride their horses and carts on the left side of the road. However, certain areas of Europe that used horses more frequently tended to stick to the right side of the road, because horses are usually mounted from the left. So if you wanted to guide your horse somewhere, even if you're just walking it along with you, you would stay on the left of the horse, which means you would go on the right side of the road to keep the horses separate from each other and closer to the edge of the road. And this is considered to be the reason why some countries drive on the right side of the road today. Those ancient traditions still continue in some form right now. A long-running tale is that the French Emperor Napoleon and his armies used the right side of the road, and therefore changed the customs of the countries he conquered from left side to right side as a result. However, evidence for this has not been seen for years, and so it's unlikely that this was ever the case. But it is true that many European nations changed the driving patterns of the territories they controlled to match their own. It's why most of Britain's former colonies, like India and Australia, drive on the left side of the road like Britain, with one major exception, and that exception is the United States of America. America was colonized by various different countries until the 18th century, and so traffic laws varied depending on the region. There are various reasons for keeping to the right side of the road though, and one reason that is oft repeated is that many travelers were commanding a team of horses. The person who is guiding the horses often used a whip to keep the horses in check. This person was almost always right-handed, 90% of the population is, and so keeping to the right side of the road prevented the whip from hitting anyone passing by in the other direction. It was only in the mid-19th century or so when all of America finally switched to right-hand traffic. And when Henry Ford developed America's first affordable car, with the Model T, he designed it with the steering wheel on the left of the car. And so, in the early days of the 20th century, it made it much more convenient to drive on the right side of the road, so you can see the oncoming traffic clear. And this standardized the format for every American car from then on. So, you can thank Henry Ford in part for why we drive on the right side of the road today. Transitioning from left-hand driving to right-hand driving was something that several countries did, and it was no easy feat for those countries. One of the most notable examples occurred in Sweden back in 1967. The government made the decision to switch from driving on the left to driving on the right because it would align to themselves with neighboring countries. Additionally, almost everyone in Sweden had their steering wheel on the left side of the car, and if people drove on the right side of the road to match, it would just be easier to see the oncoming traffic pass by because you're closer to the center of the road. It was a tough process that took place almost entirely in the early hours of September the 3rd, 1967. The number of the accidents on the road didn't go down as a result like the government was hoping, but Sweden did successfully align itself with its neighbors like Norway and Finland, and also with Denmark, with which Sweden has a bridge. So you can say there is still a net benefit to this. In total, only about 75 countries in the world drive on the left side of the road, with an astounding 165 countries and territories choosing to drive on the right side. The curious practice of driving on either the left or right side of the road is deeply rooted in history, cultural influence, and much more. So, the next time you find yourself traveling abroad, you'll remember exactly why the country you're in is driving on the right side or the left side of the road. Thanks so much for watching. Love you, Akash.